Everyone, it's wonderful to be here with you today. I want to share a personal story about how I once failed so spectacularly at building a healthy morning routine that it nearly derailed the progress of my work and my life. Several years ago, when I was juggling multiple ventures and pushing myself to extremes, I believed that I could bypass simple, grounding habits and rely on sheer willpower and late-night productivity. My nights would blur into early mornings, and I'd roll out of bed just in time to answer an urgent phone call or hop into a high-stakes meeting. That lifestyle might sound exciting, but was anything but. I was perpetually exhausted. My mental clarity suffered. I made hasty decisions, and I found myself burnt out more often than I'd care to admit. I recall a specific week when everything seemed to collapse at once. I forgot an important investor call because I'd overslept. I mixed up design specs for a new product because I was too frazzled, and I lost precious time with my loved ones because I was constantly firefighting instead of living deliberately. The irony was unmistakable. I was striving to push the boundaries of technology and business innovation, yet I couldn't manage something as fundamental as giving myself a consistent, positive pod to start each day. This failing wasn't a sudden, more was a slow, grind-matting realization that something crucial was missing, something that even the grandest ambitions cannot replace. I'd neglected the small habits that shape daily success. Painful period forced me to confront the reality that I needed a shift from chaos to structure, or I risked undermining everything I was passionate about. When I finally decided I had to make a change, breakthrough arrived in the form of a single, uncomplicated adjustment. I resolved to wake up 1 hour earlier each day, no excuses. That commitment, small as it sounds, kicked off a chain reaction. I discovered an hour of focused reflection before the day's chaos could begin. I used that newfound time for brief but effective activities, whether it was reading, meditating, or simply organizing thoughts for the day. It felt like a door to a new dimension of clarity had opened. My story might sound familiar because we level, at some level, that the first moments of our day influence everything that follows. Each of us wrestles with our own brand of morning chaos, whether it's the lure of social media, last-minute panicking about tasks, or the relentless rush against the clock. So if you're here feeling that same tug of urgency and longing for a better way, know that you're not alone. We share this stage of life, and we share these challenges. We're in this journey together, each with our own versions of confusion, aspiration, desire to do better. In light of all of this, I propose a new path. Let's develop a morning routine that not only sets a positive tone for the rest of the day, but also infuses our work, relationships, and passions with renewed energy. Imagine waking up with clarity, having a sense of calm, mastery over your first steps, and setting an intentional pace that allows you to address challenge creativity instead of desperation. That's what I want to explore with you today. Real habits, practical advice, and a cohesive vision of how mornings can be transformed from a dreaded time slot into a daily launchpad for your most fulfilling endeavors. Now, let's delve into the core ideas of how you can build or refine a morning routine, the path to success, balance, and genuine excitement for what lies ahead. I want to touch on 5 key points, each one reflecting a vital aspect designing a constructive morning routine. We'll explore these points using different approaches, from storytelling to analysis, interactive exercises, and problem solving. By the end of this conversation, you'll not only have insights into why these habits matter, but also tangible strategies to apply tomorrow, or even tonight as you set the stage for your next morning. Let's begin with our first key point. The first key point centers on the concept of identifying what energizes you most in those earliest minutes of your day. Often we assume there's a universal formula. Wake up, drink water, do some push-ups, and everyone magically align. But every individual is different. Some people find solace in journaling, some in physical exercise, others in quiet reflection. There's a unique puzzle for each of us to solve. Let's explore this using a discovery pattern. Have you ever asked yourself a simple but powerful question? What do I truly want for my first moment of the day? Perhaps you think about how you'd like to feel. Peaceful, joyful, inspired. Maybe there's a particular achievement you're aiming for, be it greater productivity or mental clarity that frees you from the weight of scattered thoughts. That opening question is often overlooked, yet it holds the key to personalizing a morning routine that doesn't just look good on paper, but resonates with who you are at your core. I recall a situation involving a brilliant software engineer who struggled to find that spark in his morning. He built multiple apps, worked with cutting-edge technology, and contributed to groundbreaking research. Every morning felt like dragging a massive weight. His approach was simply to get up and go straight to work, convinced this was the hallmark of dedication. Over time, he noticed a decline in his creative thinking. Even though his technical skills were strong, his mind felt stale, and his relationships with colleagues became tense. Eventually, he realized that his morning was nothing more than a frantic rush. He tried a simple shift, Dedicating the 15 minutes to reading something non-technical, something that would ignite his imagination, he chose science fiction, ironically enough, a genre that once inspired his passion for technology. Within weeks, he reported increased motivation, fresher ideas, and a feeling of joy upon waking. This wasn't some grand overhaul, it was a minor tweak that transformed his entire day. If we analyze this scenario deeply, we see that he didn't need to adopt someone else's routine wholesale. He discovered through asking a fundamental question that he needed a spark of creativity to thrive. Every individual has that one element they need, be it movement, reflection, a creative spark, or a moment of connection with loved ones. Deep analysis here reveals that we often borrow routines from successful people without evaluating whether those routines match our own strengths or aspirations. The danger lies not in trying something new, in forcing ourselves into a format that doesn't resonate, thus leading us to abandon it altogether. The practical solution begins with experimentation. You don't have to lock yourself into a complex schedule right away. Instead, choose one minor shift that aligns with your personality. Maybe it's a walk in a nearby park before you jump into your responsibilities. Maybe it's reading a single, inspiring paragraph that sets your mindset. Perhaps you need a moment of gratitude or a quick stretch that energizes your muscles. This small change won't require an extra hour immediately. It could be just 5 to 10 minutes. Introducing this brief but aligned activity, you position yourself to greet the day on your terms. Over time, you can add more layers: hydration, journaling, mindfulness, a short workout. Key is to start with something that truly speaks to you. When you reach a breakthrough conclusion about what energizes you, it shifts your morning from being a dreaded alarm clock shock into a purposeful act of self-alignment. You're not just chasing the standards set by others. You're carving out a space that fosters your own well-being and creative brilliance, and that shift sets the tone for deeper engagement throughout the day. As Aleia May Angelou once said, a succinct and powerful reflection, your day is pretty much formed by how you spend your first hour. Her words remind us that the initial moments shape the flow of everything that follows. Take that to heart as you continue designing a morning that truly belongs to you. Now let's move on to the second key point: discovering how your morning routine can become a ritual that grounds you emotionally, fosters resilience, and fuels consistent progress. We'll approach this with a storytelling pattern. In my early 20s, I met a young entrepreneur who had just launched a modest online marketplace. He struggled financially for months, working from a tiny apartment, constantly on the brink of giving up. His mornings were a collision of anxiety, overdue payments, and frantic calls. One cold winter day, after humiliating investor rejection, he decided that something had to change within himself before any external success could occur. That day, he started a new routine, albeit unintentionally. 6 a.m. feeling consumed by stress. Instead of immediately diving into emails or trying to force productivity, he decided to make tea and sit quietly, letting the steam and warmth ground him. As he sipped his tea, he allowed himself to daydream about what his biz could become. For a fleeting moment, he felt his body relax, as though he'd discovered a small anchor in the storm. Over the next few weeks, this simple ritual expanded. He began to write down one thing he was thankful for each morning. He'd reflect on how even the challenges he faced were stepping stones to growth. There were no radical changes in his finances overnight, but something just as important was happening internally. He felt more stable, less prone to panic, and more capable of calmly addressing the obstacles of running a startup. As the situation developed, this morning habit evolved into a full-fledged morning practice. He combined the tea ritual with a quick journaling session, setting clear objectives for the day and acknowledging the personal values he wished to embody. He faced countless challenges. Competitors emerged, investors remained skeptical. Marketing was an uphill battle, but his morning ritual became a sanctuary where he reconnected with the reasons he had started in the first place. Challenges and solutions arrived in tandem. Each new problem threat wrote his optimism, but his morning routine reminded him that resilience is often built in small daily increments, rather than through dramatic transformations. He kept the sacred time for himself against the urgent demands of a growing enterprise. Soon, he realized that this consistent practice didn't just keep him afloat, it helped him thrive. He came up with innovative partnerships, found new ways to cut costs, and developed a deeper empathy for both customers and employees. That emotional groundedness trickled into his leadership style. His team noticed the difference. They saw a leader who maintained composure and could inspire confidence even when revenue numbers were shaky. In reflecting on the lessons learned, it became crystal clear that a morning routine doesn't need to be flashy or rigid to be effective. It needs to be authentic and restorative. This daily ritual acted like a gentle reminder that no matter how chaotic the external world could be, there was a personal space of calm that he could claim at the start of each day. That sense of inner alignment often translates into sharper decision-making and a more sustainable path to growth rather than short bursts of achievement followed by burnout. For those of you hearing this, You might recognize parallels in your own life. Perhaps the specifics are different. Maybe you're not building a startup, but you're managing a household or developing your own creative pursuits. Yet, principle remains the same. If you cultivate a morning ritual that nourishes your spirit and clarifies your intentions, you gain a wellspring resilience for the challenges ahead, as the entrepreneur in this story discovered, that small window of calm and gratitude can yield massive dividends in your mental and emotional well-being. This leads us perfectly to an audience connection. Your personal story might not mirror his exactly. How often do you give yourself even 5 minutes of uninterrupted solitude in the morning? Have you considered how your mindset might shift if you consistently carved out space to reflect on what truly matters? You don't have to wait until you're on the edge of giving up to see the transformative power of these routines. You can decide right here, now, that you deserve a morning that awakens hope, clarity, and a sense of purpose. Next, let's delve into the third key point, examining the science, statistics, and analysis behind why a structured morning routine can significantly elevate not just your personal well-being, also your performance in professional and creative endeavors. We'll employ an analysis pattern here. Various studies confirm that the first hour upon waking influences your cognitive function for the rest of the day. Roughly 6% of surveyed high performers, executives, athletes, innovators, report having a consistent morning practice that prioritizes mental clarity. This indicates a strong correlation between a stable morning structure and overall productivity. According to data gathered by multiple wellness and performance research groups, individuals who stick to a habitual morning routine exhibit, on average, a 20% increase in sustained energy levels measured throughout the workday. These numbers might seem abstract, highlight the tangible performance gains linked to morning habits. When you consider that only about 40% of people maintain any semblance of a deliberate morning structure, you begin to see why many struggle to get through the task effectively. In terms of market trends, has been a sharp rise in the popularity of apps and programs specifically designed to help people cultivate better morning habits. The wellness technology sector has seen a growth of approximately 12% year over year, focusing on guided meditation apps, sleep cycle trackers, and habit-building platforms. This surge is not just a fleeting wellness fad. It aligns with a broader cultural movement that recognizes how mental health, productivity, and lifestyle choices converge in the earliest parts of the day. Investors are also paying attention, directing millions of dollars toward companies that offer integrated morning routine solutions. It's a clear sign that the market acknowledges a universal need for better daily structure. When you dig deeper into the in-depth research, you find that a consistent morning routine helps regulate stress hormones, particularly cortisol, which peaks shortly after waking. By introducing mindful breathing, light exercise, or even gentle stretching during that window, you can modulate the body's stress response, leading to better emotional regulation throughout the day. Neuroscientists also point out that the brain transitions from a restful state to a more alert state through phases that can be optimized. Engaging in simple cognitive tasks like journaling or reading during those transitional moments can prime your neural pathways for enhanced creativity and logical thinking in later hours. These insights translate into multiple practical applications for everyday life. For example, if you're a working professional juggling deadlines, a quick morning review of your day's goals can streamline your entire workflow. If you're an artist or writer, those morning moments might be the best time to harness your creative energy before the demands of daily life sap your concentration. You busy parents can benefit from a 10-minute mindfulness routine, which can significantly reduce stress and improve patience. The key is you don't have to incorporate all possible activities. The best routines are selective, designed to address your most pressing needs. Looking ahead, the future predictions suggest even more integration of technology into morning routines. Wearables that adjust your alarm based on sleep quality, advanced apps that track cognitive readiness, driven coaching that personalizes your morning plan daily. Yet technology should serve as a tool, not a replacement for genuine self-awareness. As these trends evolve, it's essential to remember no app can replace the mindful decision you make to start your day with intention and presence. Albert Einstein once remarked in one of his contemplations about daily habits, out of clutter, find simplicity. From discord, find harmony. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Those words, though not specifically about morning routines, encapsulate the essence of why structured beginnings matter. Remind us that even amid the chaos of modern life, a simple, harmonious start to the day can reveal opportunities for growth and clarity that we might otherwise overlook. Moving to our fourth key point, let's explore how to integrate an interactive dimension into your morning routine, turning it from a solitary practice into an opportunity for shared growth. We'll use an interactive pattern to illustrate how communal engage can enrich your early hours. Imagine a brief thought exercise. Visualize yourself waking up tomorrow with the conscious intention of involving someone else in your morning routine. It could be a family member, a friend who lives across the world, or a colleague who has similar goals. Perhaps you schedule a quick video call to reflect on what you both want to accomplish that day. As you think about this, notice your internal reaction. Do you feel excitement or uncertainty? This internal dialogue can whether you're someone who thrives on collaboration or prefers solitude in the morning. There is no right or wrong answer, but understanding your inclination's doors opens to new possibilities. When we consider group discussions about morning habits, we might think of communities, online forums, social media groups, or small circles of friends where people share their routines, successes, and challenges. It might seem odd to discuss something so personal as how you spend your first hour awake, but countless individuals find motivation and accountability in these shared experiences. By exchanging strategies, you'll notice patterns. A person might talk about how a quick run transforms their energy. Another might find journaling essential for emotional balance, and yet another might champion the power of morning affirmations. This collective knowledge offers a menu of possibilities you might never have considered on your own. The next layer is experience sharing in a more direct sense. Perhaps you live with loved ones. Why not designate a few minutes of communal calm, like a shared quiet breakfast or a moment of reflection where everyone states one thing they're grateful for? In a workspace that embraces flexible or remote schedules, consider forming a small group that logs into a call for 5 minutes to set intentions together. These experiences foster unity and remind us that morning routines, while deeply personal, can become a collective strength if approached with mutual respect. Direct practice can then arise naturally. For instance, propose a short mindfulness session in a family setting. Everyone stands in a circle, connects virtually, and takes 3 deliberate, calm breaths, releasing tension and setting positive intentions. It doesn't have to be elaborate. A simple shared act can create an uplifting ripple effect. Alternatively, if you're part of a company that values well-being, you might advocate for a collective morning check. Some workplaces have started adopting short digital meetings dedicated purely to positivity, where teammates highlight something they look forward to that day. These practical steps turn a solitary morning habit into a vibrant, community-building exercise. Eventually, all of these interactive elements bring us to a learning summary. When you invite others into your morning routine, you gain accountability, fresh perspectives, and a sense of shared purpose. Is an emotional bond formed when people understand and support each other's start-of-day rituals. If, however, you prefer solitude, an interactive angle might not be your priority. It's important to remain true to yourself. If you suspect collaboration or a shared practice could amplify your motivation, there's a wealth of potential waiting to be explored. Brown once captured the power of shared experiences in a concise statement. We don't have to do it all alone. We're never meant to. In just a few words, she spotlights the transformational aspect of communal support. Sometimes it's the small act of checking in with another person that can make a routine sustainable and life-enhancing. Now we arrive at the 5th key point, where we will use a problem-solving pattern. This focuses on how to address the most common obstacles that prevent us from establishing and maintaining a healthy morning routine, then formulating a plan for lasting success. The central challenge many people face is time, or rather the perception that they don't have enough of it. They might say, "I'm too busy," or "My schedule is insane." The first step is to identify where the real challenge is: lack of time and lack of priorities. If you find yourself claiming there's no room in your schedule, analyze your mornings. Do you scroll through shows multiple times? Are there late night habits that push your wake up time further and further back? By taking a hard look at these patterns, often uncover that you do have pockets of time. They're just buried under habits that don't serve you. Once you identify the challenge, cause analysis might show that fear or resistance can be more significant than the clock itself. Sometimes people resist waking up earlier because they dread facing their to-do list, or they associate mornings with stress. Other times, they've tried morning routines that felt forced and gave up quickly, believing such practices aren't for me. Unpacking these emotions can illuminate mental barriers that need attention. From there, propose solutions that are both practical and empathetic. One approach is incrementalism. Instead of waking up an hour earlier from day one, wake up 10 minutes earlier for the first week. Use that time for a gentle, positive activity, something that sparks hope rather than dread. Another solution is customizing your routine. If you hate running first thing in the morning, don't do it. If you'd rather listen to uplifting music while you get dressed, make that your ritual. The key is to ease into change in a way that aligns with your dispositions, so you don't resist it subconsciously. Your action plan may involve setting tangible metrics. For instance, commit to your new habit for 21 consecutive days, or measure how you feel each morning on a simple scale: energized, neutral, or drained. Track your bedtime habits as well, ensuring you're setting yourself up for success by getting adequate rest. This plan should also include reevaluation checkpoints, maybe every week, where you ask, What's working? What's not? Where do I need to adapt? That iterative approach keeps you engaged and allows flexibility as you curveballs. Finally, the success metrics become a guiding light. True success in building a morning routine isn't about rigid perfection. It's about consistency and genuine benefits to your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. If, after a month of consistent practice, you feel more in control, more optimistic, and less reactive, that's a major win. If your relationships, work output, or creative endeavors see marked improvements, you know you're on the right track. Also notice that over time, your morning routine evolves naturally as you grow and circumstances change. As a single, impactful reminder of the problem-solving spirit, consider Henry Ford's words, "Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal." A morning routine is about keeping your eyes fixed on the goal of starting the day positively, letting obstacles dominate your perspective. We've journeyed through 5 key points: personalizing what energizes you, grounding yourself with ritual, understanding the research behind morning habits, discovering interactive opportunities, and solving common obstacles. Now, let's look toward the future, gather the challenges we still face, and make a renewed commitment to supporting each other in this pursuit. I'd like to paint a vision of how your mornings and your life could look a few years down the line if you choose to cultivate these habits now. There's a future rapidly taking shape, one where technological innovation, social evolution, and individual choices converge. In that future, a well-structured morning routine can be your constant companion, a stabilizing force that counters the frenzy of an increasingly fast-paced world. Imagine yourself wake up each day with a sense of anticipation rather than anxiety. You might be using smart devices that gently track your sleep cycle, waking you at the ideal moment so you're refreshed and alert. Perhaps you'll have a curated digital feed that delivers meaningful insights or uplifting messages instead of the usual barrage of stressful notifications. Even as your professional sphere evolves, you embrace new forms of communication and advancing tools. Your morning routine remains a reminder that technology can enhance, but never replace, the need for the human need, flexion, connection, and intentional living. You won't be chasing a perfect blueprint copied from someone else. You'll be refining your own, guided by introspection and experimentation. This gives you a lifelong sense of adaptive resilience, capacity to face changes in career, personal life, or the global stage with a steadiness rooted in a ritual you control. Of course, challenges still loom, as the demands on our time continue to multiply. The temptation to prioritize external pressures over self-care will grow. There might be new forms of digital distractions we can't even imagine yet. The hustle culture, in some circles, will remain relentless, telling you that waking up later and working later is the only path to success. Or it might tell you that you need to sacrifice every moment of personal time to achieve your goals. These narratives won't vanish overnight. They'll call for a renewed sense of personal accountability to recognize that your well-being isn't negotiable. Each morning gives you an invaluable opportunity to reaffirm that truth. For my part, I want to extend a form of support commitment. Whether you're an early-stage entrepreneur, a seasoned executive, a student, or someone just trying to make sense of the daily grind, the journey of refining your morning routine will be filled with trial and error, small epiphanies, and ongoing adaptations. But you won't have to do it alone. There are countless communities, both online and offline, foster dialogue around morning habits. There are coaches, mentors, friends, and colleagues who share the same aspiration to start the day with clarity and purpose. Lean on those resources. Shast breakthroughs. Provide feedback. This collective effort can transform the simple act of waking up into a global movement toward mindful, intentional living. As we come to a close, I want to leave you with an inspiring image. Tomorrow morning, your alarm rings, and for once, you don't slam the snooze button. You rise with calm determination. You engage in one or two small but meaningful rituals that remind you of what truly matters in your life. You feel undercurrent of excitement rather than dread. You face the upcoming tasks, deadlines, or interactions with internal poise that says, "I can handle this." And as the day unfolds, each hour carries forward the momentum you built in those first precious moments. Your creativity spikes, you manage conflicts with composure, and you end the day with a sense of fulfillment. Multiply that experience by weeks, months, and years, and you see the extraordinary potential locked within a single, simple choice to embrace mornings not as a burden, but as a gift. I stand here encouraging you to claim that gift. Choose to see your mornings as an uncharted frontier where you can quietly shape the life you wish to lead. Small, consistent actions will yield results that might surprise you, delight you, and sometimes even challenge you. Yet, through it all, you'll discover that the path to sustained success being often starts where most people even get out of bed. Thank you for allowing me to share these thoughts and experiences with you. I hope you leave here feeling empowered, ready to experiment, genuinely inspired, craft a morning routine that ignites your best self. After all, each sunrise is an invitation to create something extraordinary, not just in your work, but in the very essence of who you become.